Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. On this day, if you turn to the other networks, they probably barely even acknowledge today.
Yes.
This is critically important because if you look at the issues that folks are fighting for today, those were literally the exact same issues Dr. King was fighting when he died. He was fighting against militarism, and then of course you have Donald Trump continuing to want to spend billions and billions of dollars more on the military, but then he wants to cut SNAP programs and food programs. And of course you have what's happening with education. You have what's happening with economics in terms of African Americans, this widening gap, this wealth gap as well, and the issue of poverty. He was planning the Poor People's Campaign in 1968 when he was killed. And here you have Reverend Dr. William Barber. We're going to chat with him in just a second. They are reviving that because we still are dealing with these massive issues of the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. Julianne.
Dr. King, in his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech, said, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have 3 meals a day for their bodies, education and culture for their minds, peace and freedom for their spirits." That is a statement that we have to go for. The other statement that I think is important is during the March on Washington, 1963, everybody wants to talk about the nonsense of the content of your character. But he also said, we have come to this nation's capital to cash a check. And that check has been marked insufficient funds. So if you lift up Dr. King, lift up his economic program, lift up his inclusive program, lift up the program in which he said that we all have the right to sit, and he'll use this language other times, at the bountiful table of our nation where many had been excluded from.
Right?
Absolutely. Roland, in many ways, the 51 years since Dr. King was assassinated have been, in this country, a direct response to that movement, a people's movement, led by black and brown people, led by African Americans, but including everyone. And when he touched the third rail of American politics and economy by dealing with the Poor People's March, the response has been virulent. He was assassinated, and in the 50 years since, we've seen an attempt to roll it all back. Here we are in 2019. From that second Reconstruction that Dr. King was at the center of, trying to fulfill the promise of the Civil War amendments of the first Reconstruction, Dr. Barber, as I say, our frat brother, dealing with this question of a third Reconstruction,
yes,
because we are facing a country where Donald Trump has replaced
yes,
1/5 of the federal judiciary, where they're eviscerating the federal budget, and where we're going to have to now fight in the way that Dr. King predicted in his last book. Where do we go from here, chaos or community?
Joseph.
And basically, this day kind of resonates with me because my grandfather was a sanitation worker. And so those conditions were horrible back in 60s,
yes,
even as late as the 70s and 80s. And now we're still fighting for the same thing that they were fighting for, which was a living wage, work conditions where you don't get killed for doing your job. The other thing that kind of resonates with me about today is the fact that so many people believe that Martin Luther King is encapsulated in the I Have a Dream speech. But
yes,
it was the entire agenda that you were talking about. Fair wages, anti-poverty programs, end of militarization. He was so much more three-dimensional than a lot of the media give him credit for. And I think that today and talking about him in this way in this program kind of gets the message beyond that two-dimensional character.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.